This is a video about why I was disappointed by Horizon Zero Dawn. Yes, I know I am lagging behind the times here, but when this game came out, I was neck deep in a PhD, so I hope you'll cut me a bit of slack for being a tad late to the party. In this video, I'll be laying out my case for why Horizon Zero Dawn is an uninspiring, patronizing game that relies on lazy and outdated design choices. If you are one of the many people who loved this game, you're a bad person. I'm just kidding. Obviously, there's a lot to like about Horizon, and it is very far from a bad game. I just disagree with a lot of the glowing praise the game has received, and that's why I'm making this video. With that disclaimer behind us, let's dive into my 3 years late hot take, well, lukewarm take on Horizon Zero Dawn. Quick recap time! Horizon Zero Dawn is set in a post-apocalyptic far future, centuries after some unknown catastrophic event plunged humanity all the way back to the stick-fighting ages. But there are still remnants of advanced tech and also giant robots. The main character is called Aloy. She's good at shooting the robots, and she goes on an epic quest to find out what happened to humanity. There is a minor spoiler warning for this video, as I will be showing various bits of game footage, especially from the first 4 or 5 hours of the game. But I've made sure there are no major story spoilers for the later parts of the game, so if by any chance you're watching this but you haven't played the game and you don't want the mystery spoiled, you should be right. Horizon Zero Dawn delivers its story with as much subtlety as a whack on the head with a techno spear. It constantly breaks the fundamental storytelling rule of show, don't tell. Not only does Aloy never stop talking to herself.
He said we'd go hunting this morning. Why isn't he here? Where's he gone to? The killers, this corruption, they're all parts of the mystery I'm chasing.
She will sometimes just say the solution to a problem before you've had a chance to figure it out yourself.
There's a part missing. Maybe there's a storage area nearby. I should try luring the behemoth into the pillars. Done. I should check the door nearby.
Right at the beginning of the game, there's this scene in which young Aloy falls into a cave and accidentally discovers a ruin full of dead bodies. It seems like this was supposed to be quite a creepy section, and it really should have been. And yet it feels so lame. It's just totally devoid of tension or suspense because Miss Jabberface is constantly talking. To make things worse, almost everything she's saying is already obvious from what's happening on screen.
He won't hear me. Some kind of cave? There's something up ahead. What's that? A dead person. There's something shiny. Just do this. I'm at a door. Maybe this device. Change color.
Boy, the writers of this game were just terrified of giving the player 1 minute of space to breathe and observe and figure things out themselves. This scene would have been so much more effective if dialogue and sound effects were used sparingly and effectively. Instead, we got this.
What's that? A dead person.
Ah! Dead body!
And this problem is present throughout the entire game, with characters verbally announcing things that they are clearly doing.
She's an outcast, to be shunned.
Where's my focus? It's here, okay.
But here's the real mystery, my friends. This game won an award for writing. It won an award for wait, what's this? Oh, well that's interesting. To be clear, I'm not talking about the plot of the game. I actually really like the mystery about what happened to humanity and where Aloy came from. It's a really compelling and interesting story. And there's a ton of lore and world building that you can find in data logs scattered throughout the world, and that's cool, there's a lot there. I'm not criticizing the story, just the storytelling. Horizon has a great story. It's just too bad that the way it delivers it is so clunky and patronizing and grating. But that's not the only thing that's clunky about this world. The world of Horizon Zero Dawn is populated by a diverse cast of weird and wonderful characters. There's poor man's Liam Neeson, Kiefer Sutherland with chops, that dude from Spirited Away, I think, and Gary Oldman's great-great-great-great-grandson. And some of them are pretty well acted too. Others, not so much.
I promise. I'll tell you everything.
I'll sing, Papa. La 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 la.
I'm being attacked. Help. Please help me. I can't take this.
But aside from the sometimes iffy voice acting, the people in this world don't feel like people. If a character has a quest to give you, they will just stand there and loop the same 2 lines of dialogue endlessly until you finally give in and talk to them.
Somebody, please! Somebody, please! Somebody, please!
Characters also tend to loop dialogue lines during fights. This particular fight is tough and lasts a fairly long while, and I heard this guy repeat the same line 6 times. Everyone, aside from maybe a few of the main characters, just feels like badly programmed AI. There's this ability whereby you can whistle from some grass, and anyone nearby, even hardened killers, will just obligingly stroll over to you, where you can stealth kill them on the spot. And you can just stay in the same spot and keep whistling and killing dude after dude after dude. Wait a minute, am I getting deja vu from like 5-10 years ago? Yeah, I remember this from Assassin's Creed. Even way back in the early 2010s, this mechanic was kind of ridiculous. But I can't believe a game from 2017 is still letting you whistle people to their death. I half expected there to be a story reveal at some point in the game that everyone in this world is actually a robot. Like, we thought the huge metallic dinosaurs were the robots, but no, even the people are androids. And they don't know it, they think they're human. That would have been a great plot twist if you ask me, and an actual in-game explanation for why everyone in this world is so robotic and lifeless. Major missed opportunity, I'm telling you. But it can't be helped now. Idea for Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Okay, fine. The success of an immersive sandbox game like Horizon Zero Dawn hinges on how well it can create a world that feels real and lived in. Horizon's world feels like... Do you remember when that bot wrote a Game of Thrones episode and it sort of resembled the real thing from a distance, but then on closer inspection it just didn't make any sense? The world design of this game is a bit like that. It vaguely resembles an actual world, but only if you don't look too closely. So this is my favourite part of the game. In this scene, there's a locked trapdoor on the ground floor, and the way that Aloy breaks into it is to push a pallet of ore from the floor above, bringing it crashing down. I guess nobody on the dev team thought to ask why there would be a pallet of extremely heavy smithing materials being kept on the 2nd floor of a residence. But considering that the guy who lives here obviously wanted, for some reason, to keep a ton of ore on the top floor of his house, it's a good thing there just happens to be a huge gaping hole in the 2nd story of his house through which he could lift said ore. Seriously, there's just a hole in the floor here. And then, later we find out that this guy has kids. There are children running around this place. This is a child endangerment lawsuit waiting to happen. Someone call the police. There are so many things that don't make any sense in this game. There are supply boxes full of stuff just lying around in the street. Whose stuff is this, for heaven's sake? It's mine now. The most ridiculous place I discovered a supply box was on top of a roof. Who put this here? I mean, who climbed up here and put this random box of stuff here? Now, I know this game didn't invent the trope of supply boxes full of stuff randomly lying around on the street for you to conveniently pillage, but in a modern open-world game that's trying to be immersive, it's just inexcusably lazy game design. For me, the baffling thing is that not all aspects of the game are this careless. The artistic design is painfully good. The costumes are absolutely bonkers. I really feel like this is what hunter-gatherers would wear if they cobbled together their clothing from weird salvaged ancient tech. I mean, I don't know exactly what these white pieces of trash are that they're wearing, but it looks better than a necklace made of Coke cans, I guess, so that was a good design decision. And the graphical detail in every inch of this world is stunning. This mosaic wall thing is nice. Look at this lamp, it's got a little whirly bit on the top. It's so cool. Oh, nice little potion rack. Oh, that's a nice couch. The detail on those cushions. Oh, but all of these thousands of gorgeous little touches exist as part of an environment that feels weirdly cobbled together. There's beauty, but no logic. And it makes me wonder, what is all this for? What greater purpose is all this beauty serving? Yes, the game has whirly-dirly lamps and bright colours and gorgeous sunsets, but is that it? What is the point of this game? Does it do anything new? Does it push the medium of video games forward? Aside from having nice-looking mountains, what does it achieve? It's difficult to say what Horizon does that hasn't already been done many times before. The game splices together the actiony bits of Uncharted, the sneaky bits of Assassin's Creed, the detective-y bits of Batman, the dialogue choices of a Telltale game, but way less interesting, and the same old hunting and flower picking and crafting and, oh, please help me find my favourite banana, I lost it somewhere, side quests that we see in every open world game. The side quests in particular are so formulaic, I'd call it a cookie cutter approach to quest design, but that would be an insult to cookies. Most of the quests are some version of, I've lost my person, please help me find them, or I've lost a thing, please help me get it back. These side quests, and even some of the main quests, require exactly the same thing of you every time. Go to the quest marker, turn on your Witcher sense. Focus. Turn on your focus, follow the magic purple bubbles to a place, trigger the cutscene, receive some XP for your trouble. These quests are woefully unengaging and don't require anything from the player in terms of ingenuity or problem-solving skills other than follow the purple path. You don't even have to bear the burden of deciding when you might need to turn on your focus to look for clues because Aloy or the mission log just tells you when you need to.
Might be a blood trail I could follow. I should try my focus.
The process of obtaining missions is just as dull and uninventive. As you're running around here and there, quest givers will appear with big, cartoony green exclamation points above their heads, so all you need to do is run straight up to them and press talk. There is absolutely no reason to talk to or engage with anyone, anywhere, who doesn't have an icon hovering over their head. And for that matter, there's no reason to be clever or observant or really much of anything else while you're playing this game. The game's mechanics seem to actively discourage the player from thinking too hard. The over-explanatory dialogue doesn't let you work anything out yourself. The exclamation points and magic bubbles point you everywhere you need to go. It all adds up to an experience that could be summed up as joylessly going through the motions. Speaking of joyless, this next part is not gonna be fun. Let me start here by saying that Aloy is, objectively speaking, amazing. Kings want to recruit her, dudes want to date her, armies want to fight for her, everybody wants to thank her for solving all of their life problems, and oh boy does the internet love her too. Horizon's Aloy is Sony's next great protagonist. Why I fell in love with Aloy of Horizon Zero Dawn. Aloy is a strong, independent woman who don't need no man.
Let's go.
The most common criticisms of Aloy's character seem to be that she's derivative, a shallow trope, kind of generic and one-dimensional, and the big one, boring. These criticisms usually lead into a reasoned, constructive discussion about the merits of tropes and gender representation, and not just kidding, they instantly devolve into a pylon about what the word derivative means and, well, the usual. But really, what is there not to love about Aloy? Aside from the fact that her name is Aloy. I mean, she's a strong, independent, quick-witted, kind-hearted warrior with grey hair. But, look, I was seriously conflicted about how to write this next bit. I mean, at this point in time, it's just stating the obvious to say that even mentioning gender in games is a quick road to... Yeah, I know. How do I turn this bloody alarm off? As I was saying, it's stating the obvious to say that talking about the G word in games is a quick road to getting eaten alive by the internet. So here's a statement that I've prepared. With that out of the way, let's get to the problem with Aloy. She's too perfect. Guerrilla Games set a very noble goal of creating a strong female woman to protagonize their game, and they should be applauded for that. But in doing so, they forgot to write her as a real human being. Real people have flaws, they're messy, they make mistakes that they have to fix. Aloy doesn't make mistakes. She doesn't struggle against her own worst impulses. She doesn't harm anyone. She seems to be driven by a genuine motivation to help everybody and do the right thing all of the time. That's why so many people love her. She's great. And that's why a lot of people find her boring. She's great. What are Aloy's negative traits? The worst thing one could say about her is that she keeps stealing other people's stuff. And aside from making her unrelatable, there's another unfortunate consequence to Aloy's perfection. Because she has no flaws to overcome. She has no character arc. Aloy is pretty much the same person at the beginning of the journey as she is at the end. All of the obstacles she comes up against on her quest are purely external. The restrictive superstitions of the tribe, untrustworthy strangers, the dangerous killer robots. Her journey to gain knowledge about her birth mother and the downfall of the human race is very interesting, but it's not accompanied by an internal journey in which Aloy has to confront her own failings and change as a person. What she needed to be a truly compelling character was some negative personality traits which would seriously threaten the success of her mission if she didn't grow and overcome them. And let me point out that all my criticisms until now have been gender neutral, okay? Male heroes and protagonists who are entirely good and wonderful are just as boring as female ones. But now I do have to turn to the subject of gender equality, because this game has been praised for achieving it. And let me be clear, there are worse things than female video game protagonists who are strong, kind, smart, and always do the right thing. But what we need for gender equality isn't bland, idealized female characters with no flaws. What we need is more female protagonists who are dicks. Characters who are drunks, misanthropes, and criminals, who are reckless and have dodgy motivations. When games are willing to give us a range of female protagonists who are just as messy, complicated, and even downright sociopathic as their male counterparts, well, that'll be a bit more like gender equality. But I've slagged off the Messiah enough already, so I'll leave it at that. I keep coming back to this question. Why does this game exist? Just to be a vehicle for pretty graphics and robot battles? I mean, the devs had something they wanted to achieve here, and it can't have been a hodgepodge of bland narrative design and samey open-world mechanics. So I listened to every developer interview that I could get my hands on. And I think I managed to find a few clues as to what the design philosophy of this game was. I think that this game was designed first and foremost around combat.
We're making an open world action RPG. We wanted to make sure that the core combat was better than the competition. That was a goal, because that's what we knew how to do.
And the design philosophy seems to have been something like, even if things don't really make sense, it doesn't matter because it's silly and it's fun.
This looks awesome. I know it's silly, but I want to play this.
Intellectually, it didn't make any sense. Right. Like from an intellectual perspective, it doesn't make any sense. But emotionally, this completely started to click.
This design philosophy of fun and nonsense makes sense to me. Guerrilla Games is known for the Killzone franchise, which, as the name suggests, is about shooting a bunch of creepy-looking fascists in space. Guerrilla Games have always specialized in games that are heavy on combat and light on story, and they should be given a ton of credit for taking a risk and leaving the comfortable embrace of linear first-person shooters and going on a scary, epic adventure into the unfamiliar territory of creating an open-world game based around a cinematic story. But they didn't make it as far out of their comfort zone as perhaps they could have, because the most glorious aspect of Horizon Zero Dawn is still its combat, and everything else is just lackluster in comparison. At the end of the day, Horizon Zero Dawn feels like what it is, a narrative-heavy game made by a development team with scant narrative writing experience. So I think I figured out what the devs were trying to say with Horizon Zero Dawn. Nothing. This game seems to have no purpose, other than to look gorgeous and let players kill, ride, and climb dinosaur robots and have some silly fun. It has nothing meaningful to say about technology, or the abuse of power or knowledge, or human relationships. There are half-hearted story beats around these things, but they fall into cliché more often than not. Unfortunately, this game is just a vehicle for cool robot fights. There's something empty and hollow at the core of this game, like a robot, created for a very simple purpose and beautiful enough on the outside to help disguise the fact that it actually has no soul. Maybe you think I'm nitpicking. Maybe you're one of those people who plays games to just unwind after a long day and all you want to do is shoot guys in the head with flaming arrows and ride a robot horse, and you don't give a toss whether any of it makes that much sense. And that's fine. This is your game. And heck, judging by the reviews, this is a lot of people's game. But is this all games can be? Cool fights and pretty landscapes, populated with lifeless, badly written characters, outdated mechanics, and lazy environmental design? Horizon Zero Dawn is by no means a bad game. but it's the kind of game I want to see much less of in the future. A game that prioritizes combat and graphics and cuts corners everywhere else, that takes a patronizing attitude towards the player, and that has nothing of importance to say or add to the video game landscape. And that's about it from me. What did you think of Horizon Zero Dawn? Am I being too harsh? Do you agree with me? And most importantly, does this guy remind you of Gary Oldman, or am I just imagining things? Please give this video a like and subscribe for more. I'll see you next time.